My dear students, today we will be discussing chapter number 9, that is constructors and destructors. We have already discussed part 1 of this chapter in the previous class. So we will be continuing the same chapter. Some of the topics yet to be completed from constructors and destructors that we will be discussing in today's class. Hope you all are doing fine. First of all, I would like to apologize. In the previous video, there were some programming errors which I have made sure that I have removed all those programming errors, and some of the topics we will be repeating again. So, this class we have constructors and destructors part 2, and constructors and destructors belong to chapter number 9, and chapter number 9, the weightage of this chapter is, as discussed earlier, 7 marks. For your annual exam, you will be getting from this chapter 7 mark questions. So you will have to study 1 2 mark questions and 1 5 mark question coming from this chapter. In total 7 marks. So in the annual paper you will have 2 marks 1 question and 5 marks 1 question coming out from this chapter. So let us move on to the recap and let us recall the things what we studied in the previous class. So in the previous class we discussed about constructors. What is a constructor? What are the different rules that we have to use while using a constructor? We also studied types of constructors, that is default constructor, parameterized constructor and copy constructor. We shall continue and also we had a discussion on the programs using constructor. We wrote some of the programs, we studied some of the programs using the concept of constructors. Now let us begin the class with the continuation or some of the topics we again repeat in this class also. Some of the topics we have studied in the last class. Again we will be repeating some of the topics in this class as well. So now we will see how we can define a constructor. So we can define a class A. In the example we have taken class A, and class A has one private member X, and then in the public section we have A. A is a constructor. As I told earlier, constructor will have same name as the class name. So the class name is A, constructor name is also A. So what are we doing in the constructor? In the constructor, we are initializing x value to 0. So whenever a object is created to class A, which will make the x value to 0, because we have defined a constructor will automatically get executed whenever a object is created to that class. So now let us see how we can define or write a constructor outside the class. So as we know that if we are writing a constructor outside the class, we will be using the help of scope resolution operator, that is colon colon. Colon colon is the scope resolution operator which will help us to define the members of a class outside the class definition. Now you can see on the screen, so we have private in X, public A. A is the constructor which will have same name as the class name. So here we have not introduced the function definition. Let us see how we can introduce the function definition outside the class. So the example you can see on the screen, we have the definition for A, constructor A, which has been defined outside the class, where x value is initialized to 0. So you can observe there is a scope resolution operator used to define the constructor outside the class definition. In the previous example, the constructor definition was introduced within the class. Now we are defining constructor outside the class. So in the example, the constructor is defined outside the class definition using scope resolution operator. Scope resolution operator helps us to define the constructors outside the class definition. Let us have a look on the program where we are using a constructor. First, let us include all the header files, that is conio.h, iomanip.h, iostream.h. We are including conio.h as we will be using clear screen and getch function. So similarly, we will be introducing or including iomanip.h as we will be using endl and setw functions, and then iostream as we will be using cin and cout objects in the program for input and output process. So let us begin the program with class A, private int x, and then in public we are using a constructor A. So you can observe class A and the constructor name is same, and constructor A initializes x value to 0. So here it is making x value to 0, and you can observe the constructor is defined within the class. We are writing a display function which will display it will print the value of x. Cout x is equal to, we are printing the value of x. Disp will print it will display the value of x. A is a constructor which will have same name as the class name, which will initialize x to 0. Let us continue the program and let us write main function, and main function we will create a object A obj. Obj is the object created for A, and whenever the object is created, the constructor is automatically executed. So when the constructor is automatically executed, x will become 0. So whenever we want to print the value of x, we will call the function disp. Disp will print the value of x. So when we create the object, the constructor is executed, and when we display the object, the value of x is printed. So this is a program which demonstrates the constructor. So in this program, when the object obj is created, the constructor is called, which will make or which will initialize x value to 0. And when we call obj.disp, the value of x is printed. The value of x is 0, that will be printed. Hope you have understood this program where we have used a constructor and constructor with no arguments. So if there are no arguments, that type of a constructor is called default constructor. So in this program we have used default constructor. Let us continue the next topic, that is types of constructors. There are three constructors: default constructor, as discussed in the previous example, the constructor used was default constructor. Then we have one more constructor, that is parameterized constructor, and then we have copy constructor. So default constructor, it will have no arguments. It is also called zero argument constructor. In the previous example, the constructor what we used is default constructor. So it is used to initialize the values, and default constructor will initialize all the objects with the same value. So default constructor will initialize all the objects with the same set of values. So if we forget to initialize or to define a constructor, compiler automatically it will create a default constructor. The syntax is class name followed by no arguments. There will be no arguments used in the default constructor. Let us have a look of how we can use a default constructor in the program. We include all our header files, that is conio.h, iomanip.h, iostream.h. We are using two variables, that is data members a and b, and one constructor a, which will initialize a value to 10 and b value to 20. So whenever we create an object to class a, so a value will become 10 and b value will become 20. Here we have disp function which will print the value of a and b, that is 10 and 20. Whenever the object is created, the values are initialized to 10 and 20. Let us have a look on the main program where we will create an object, that is a, ob1 and ob2. There are two objects created for a class, that is ob1 and ob2. Whenever the object is created, the constructor is executed. So a value will become 10, b value will become 20. So similarly in ob2, again a value will become 10 and b value will become 20. So whenever we display the values from ob1 and ob2, 10 and 20 are displayed. So the default constructor initializes all the objects with the same set of values. So with the default constructor, it is not possible to initialize different objects with different set of values. In that case, if you want to initialize different objects with the different values, we can use parameterized constructor. A parameterized constructor will take one or more arguments. So it is automatically executed when an object is created, and as it uses the arguments, when we are creating objects, we need to pass the required arguments to whenever we create the object. As you see in the syntax, we can see here class name followed by the argument list, and then we can include the constructor body. A parameterized constructor will initialize multiple objects with multiple set of values, whereas default constructor initializes all objects with same set of values, whereas the parameterized constructor initializes different objects with different set of values. Let us check out a program where we can use the parameterized constructor, and let us see how it works. So write a program using parameterized constructor. So we begin the program with all our preprocessor directives, that is conio.h, iomanip.h, iostream.h. We take a class A and then we use two data members x and y. In the public section, you can observe we are using constructor A with two arguments, int v1 and int v2. So v1 will be initialized to x and v2 will be initialized to y. So we end the constructor here, we write the print function which will print the value of x and y. So let us have a look in the main program. Main program we will create the object. So you can observe a ob1, how we are creating the object. In the previous program we had created a ob1 comma ob2 because previous program used default constructor and default constructor will not use any argument. But now we are creating a object in a different way. So you observe the underlined statement A OB1 10 comma 20. 10 will be passed to V1 and 20 will be passed to V2, and in turn V1 goes to X and V2 will go to Y. So X value will become 10 and Y value will become 20. So now when we print the values A of X and Y, so we will be getting X value as 10 and Y value as 20. Previous class we also discussed about the different methods how we can invoke a parameterized constructor. So let us have a discussion on the third category of constructors, that is copy constructor. Copy constructor is very simple. So what it will do is, it will copy the existing object to the new object. It will initializes the set of values present in the existing object to a new object. So let us have a discussion on the copy constructor. Copy constructor is used to initialize an object with the existing object. A copy constructor is not invoked explicitly. A copy constructor is invoked automatically when a new object is created and equated to the existing object at the time of declaration. So let us see the example so that you will understand better. Example A OB1. I am creating a object OB1 to class A. Let us check the second statement, which is A OB2 is equal to OB1. That means we are equating with equal sign to OB1. OB1 is already existing object and we are copying the same object to OB2. So this is about the copy constructor. So in the above example, OB1 is created for class A, and in the next statement OB2 is the new object and it is equated to OB1. OB1 is the existing object. So a copy of OB1 is copied to OB2. So let us have a program which demonstrates the copy constructor. So here we have class A, and again there is only one data member, that is X, and one constructor which will initialize X to 10. Then we have void print which will print the value of X. Let us check out the main program. In main program we will create an object OB1, and then in the next statement we are creating new object OB2. So OB1 already it was existing object, OB2 is the new object. The entire OB1 is copied to OB2. Therefore when we print the value from OB1, OB1 dot print X value will be 10. As we are copying the entire OB1 object to OB2, when we print X value from OB2, it will also be 10. So as we discussed parameterized constructor which will take arguments, it is possible to overload a parameterized constructor. So it is possible to overload a parameterized constructor. We will see an example where we are overloading a simple interest constructor. As we see in the program, we have class simple interest where we are using P, T, R and SI, and then we will be using a default constructor with no arguments which will make P, R and T as 0. Then we write one more constructor with two arguments, that is int P1 and int T1. We are overloading simple interest with two integer arguments, and similarly we will overload the simple interest constructor with three arguments. int p1, int t1 and float r1, which will initialize principal, time and rate. Then we are using a calc function which will calculate the simple interest, and then it will print the simple interest. As you observe the program, let us check out the three constructor definition, first with no argument, second with 2 arguments and third with 3 arguments. Here the simple interest constructor is overloaded 3 times, one with no argument, one with 2 integer arguments and one with 3 integer arguments. Let us check out the main program and see how we can create an object and we can access the members or member functions, how we can call and execute. See, when you observe here, so we are creating 3 objects, S1, S2 and S3. So S1 no arguments, S2 2 arguments and S3 3 arguments. So when we create S1, the P, R and T of S1 will become 0, 0, 0, and in the second object, that is S2, P1 will become 1000, principal will become 1000, time will become 2 and rate will be 2.5. And in the third object, that is S3, the principal will be 1000, time will be 4 and the rate will be 1.5. So you kindly observe all the 3 object creation, S1, S2 and S3. There are 3 constructors, S1, S2 and S3. Compiler will definitely have a confusion as to how or which constructor it has to execute. So constructor, what it will do is, it will match the number of arguments and then the corresponding constructor gets executed. As you see in the first constructor, there are no arguments, therefore when S1 is created, a constructor with no argument is executed. Similarly, when you observe the object creation for S2, there are 2 arguments, therefore constructor will execute the second constructor, and then S3 object has 3 arguments, therefore it will execute the third constructor. Hope you all have understood this program, and now we are printing the calculated values of S1, S2 and S3. Let us have a look on the practical program number where we are using constructor. So here in this program we are using a constructor which shall include all our header files. Then the name of the class is series. So we are calculating the above series, that is 1 plus x square plus x cube up to x to the power of n. So we are taking x, n and res. Res is to store the result. Then we are taking a constructor series with 2 arguments, 2 integer argument int x1 and int n1. x1 is initialized to x and n1 is initialized to n. So calc will calculate the series. Result is equal to 0. For I is equal to 0, I is less than n, I plus plus. Then we are calculating result is equal to result plus pow of x comma I. As you see, the series starts with x to the power of 0 plus x to the power of 1 plus x square plus x cube. So we are using pow function which will calculate the powers. Then we are printing the result. So in the main program we will create a object. Okay, before that we will take 2 variables and we will accept x and n value, and then you can observe the object creation where we are creating the object. So where we are creating the object S with 2 arguments, that is xx and nn, which is nothing but the x value and n value. So which will be initialized to x and n. Then we are calling s dot calc which will calculate the series, and then it will print the result. So this is a program where we are using constructor to initialize x and y value. Kindly observe the statement series x s of xx and nn. X is nothing but x value, nn is nothing but n value, and which will be in turn initialized to x and n. From here the values are passed to the constructor where x1 will be initialized to x and n1 will be initialized to n. So this is about how we can use the constructor in a practical program. Now we will see the last topic of this chapter, that is destructor. Destructor, what is destructor? Destructor will also have the same name as the class name. Like constructor has the same name as the class name, destructor will also have the same name as the class name, but there is a change here. There will be a tilde operator used along with the destructor. As constructor initializes an object, a destructor deinitializes an object. It destroys an object. A constructor is automatically executed when an object is created. A destructor is automatically executed when an object is destroyed. So how do we differentiate a constructor and a destructor? A destructor is preceded by the tilde operator. A destructor cannot take arguments. A destructor cannot return any value. So the difference between a constructor and a destructor is constructor initializes an object, destructor deinitializes an object. A constructor can take argument, a destructor cannot take argument. A constructor is automatically executed when an object is created to the class. A destructor is automatically executed when an object is destroyed. Let us check out the program where we will be using a destructor. Let us have a look how we can define a destructor. On the screen you can just have a look. We have class A, we have one constructor and one destructor. Destructor will have a tilde operator. Let us check out a program where we will be using a destructor. Class demo, it has one private member count, and in the public section we are writing a constructor demo which will make the count as 0 and it will print the count as 0. So and now we are writing a destructor. See, kindly observe both the statements of destructor and constructor. In the constructor it also has the same name as the class name. Destructor also has the same name as the class name, but there is a tilde operator used. So this is how we can, when an object is created demo D, count will become 0 and count will be 0, and their program ends. When the program ends, automatically object is destroyed. Therefore the demo destructor is called and that will get executed. My dear students, hope you have understood this chapter. Kindly send feedback, and if you have any details, any doubts, kindly ask, or you can send SMS. Kindly prepare the notes and also attend the test. Hope you will do well. God bless you. Thank you.